Welcome back. Well, vacations are supposed to be a fun getaway from the stresses of everyday life, but let's be honest, just the planning of the vacation can be stress in itself.
Deciding how to spend a summer vacation as a couple or as a family can bring up a host of hot topics that our relationship expert, Kat Robey, will address with us now. Kat, it's always good to have you here.
Thank you. It's always great to be here. You guys are bright, shiny people. I love it.
So they're supposed to, you too. So they're supposed to be fun and relaxing.
I know.
But then this comes up. So
Then
what do
this
people do?
Well, there's so many pieces of it. So let's talk about why it's stressful, right? It takes precious commodities from families: time, money, routines away from home. Got to plan all this stuff. Who's going to plan it? Who's going to go see who? Is there family involved? Is there not? Are the kids coming with us? Are we going by ourselves? Am I going with no one? So many things to consider. So just bringing it up seems like, oh my gosh, the anticipation of having the conversation might be really scary.
It's prohibitive.
It
all
is,
those questions.
And there are so many possible arguments that could happen. I mean, like you said right away, financially, I feel like when I bring up, let's go on a vacation, maybe his first thought is, great, let's go to Vegas and we're going to do this and that. And I'm just like, okay, well, we have 2 kids and we have to save for college and we also have this coming up and we have this coming up. So, my mind automatically goes to where that money needs to go in the future.
Right. And how do you plan for all of that? Where do you draw the balance between our goals and our daily life? 'Cause
right.
we only have today, even though we're planning for 30 years from now and retirement and all these other things. So being able to have a balanced conversation about it and be able to state your desires, maybe without having a complete, heels in the ground, intensive way of saying, no, I have to have this. Like, what can you give up a little bit? Or what can you maybe plan for next year that the timing isn't great for this year? Or things like that. The more you can kind of have that balance and work together about saying what you want out of your vacation, the closer you'll get to it. And then maybe the more you'll be able to juggle those other life goals, financial goals, time goals.
Right. And I think it's about trade-offs, right? I mean, say one person's family lives over here, another person's family lives over here.
Right.
Who do you go visit with that one vacation?
Oh, I'm so stressed out just asking.
I know.
So it's a matter of just taking turns, sort of, right? Or is there a different way to deal with it?
Well, it might be. It might not be. I mean, it might be that, one specific set of in-laws or parents or children, or people have people all over the place. It doesn't necessarily need to be a trade-off, but I think it should definitely be a discussion to say that there's a rule around that, because I like that idea, but other people might feel like that's a rigid structure, it has to fit each place. So maybe there's a time where you see someone, for short periods of time, twice a year, but you spend a really longer amount of time with the other person, or it might all just kind of weigh out in a totally different set of rules. I mean, I just think be open to it. That's probably the answer. Be open to what the other person's bringing to the table, how it could be fair, and how you can try to help it be fair for both partners.
And I think what's really key here is that you're saying, not just be open-minded, but really listen to maybe what your partner is contributing. Right. Because I think a lot of times, like you said, we dig our heels in the ground and my way or the highway.
Right.
So it's important not to be like that in these conversations, because that's how I feel like fights start.
Yeah.
But now we have an extra element of 2 small children that, we want to take on our, vacation. So how much do we let them kind of contribute with ideas, or how much do we let them know ahead of time? I'm new to this.
Well, both of those are great questions. Actually, I was thinking, before we even go to what they know or don't know, or what we tell them, how are you considering them? How are you considering the possible family members that will be traveling you, whether they're more aged or not? So, you might have to consider wheelchair accessibility for an older member of the family, or activities for children, or, again, kind of balancing out. And way before all of this, talking about the kind of vacation you want. Do you want relaxation? Do you want history and discovery? Do you want adventure? Being able to talk about that piece of it is also important, because then we get to, how do we involve them? How do we go for a week to Rome and involve 2 small people? You can, but you have to consider how that's going to happen, who's going along. You've got to consider how long you're going to be away and how much travel away. Like, just traveling is stressful on the plane.
Right. Well, I think the key here and to everything is just to be open-minded, right?
Yeah.
So say once you've decided where you're going to go, but you're going to have a shorter trip, what should you consider? What are the things that you should really decide to do if it's short?
Yeah, if time is an element, maybe don't go so far away. And I don't want to miss that we didn't tell the kids. I definitely think you should tell the kids when it's solid. You don't, when it's for sure going to happen, maybe just a day or 2 before, if not when you're leaving, depending on their age, so they're not asking when it's going to happen. That's up to you, but they can sure get their hopes up, and that can be a source of their piqued interest all the time. So short amount of time, maybe you stay close to home. Maybe you go on a road trip. Maybe you do just a little hop over to a close by on an airplane. I mean, or, you know,
A staycation even.
a staycation is kind of my favorite. You know, it's hard to do when you've got things around the house and projects and things like that, but if you can discuss however you're going to spend your staycation time, even that can be a lovely experience.
Keep it local.
Well, there are so many, obviously so many things to consider when we are planning our vacations with our families, open-mindedness, and sometimes we need a little bit extra help, Kat, and that's where you come in.
Yeah.
So we're going to make sure our viewers know how to get in touch with you, because not just this topic, but you cover all things relationships, and we just absolutely love having you on.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Kat.
And to get more tips to optimize your relationships, just call Kat at 906-3392 or go online to robeycounseling.com.